Hello and welcome to Agape FM. The time now is 7 minutes past 10 a.m. in Qabeha, which was formerly called Port Elizabeth. So if it's your first time to tune in on our live broadcast on Facebook or also on our radio platform, welcome to the best online radio in town. And this session, the 10 a.m. session, is um, called the art of building a healthy marriage, and we'll see it actually is an art and a science. And with me in studio today is none other than our very own Pastor Khaya Sodladla. Hello, sir. How are you?
The Lord is good, and you say?
I'm great. I'm great.
Yes,
I'm
super.
great. It's good to see you again. You made it through the rain. Thank you so much for coming.
Raining or not, here we are.
Come rain or shine.
Yeah.
Cool. And I just want to introduce you to our listeners and viewers. So this is about Pastor Khaya. So Pastor Khaya Sodladla is married to Zimkita Sodladla, and together they are blessed with 3 children, Gift, Lidwala and Ntando. He is an ordained pastor, a marriage coach, a motivational speaker, and an author of 3 books, namely A View from the Father's Shoulders, The Art of Building a Healthy Marriage, and The Marriage Reset Button. He is the founder and president of the Building Healthy Marriages Institute, an institution dedicated into building and enriching married couples. To build healthy and happy marriages. Through the Building Healthy Marriages Institute, Kaya and his wife Zimkita conducts marriage seminars and workshops in different places and get to be invited to speak in churches, weddings, anniversaries, renewal of vows, etc., or etc., on the topic of singleness and marriage. He and his family make Port Elizabeth their home. So I can tell you for sure you are listening to someone who is an expert, with experience. He knows what he's talking. He has seen it. He is a married man. He's a family man. So he knows what he's talking about. And he's not giving advice from a worldly point of view. It's from the biblical point of view. And I always say this, and many the pastors, in town always say this: marriage comes from God. It's an institution that was created by God. And so if you have problems with your marriage and God is not in it, there you go. That probably is one of the biggest problems. But that's not what we're talking about today. If you're tuning in right now, and you might have missed a couple of steps that we've come so far. We've been talking about how to deal with emotional DVDs, distortions in your emotional life, that you interpret, people's actions, through scenarios and all this. And we've been dealing with certain scenarios, so that we can touch on various, aspects or personality types, in marriages, because every marriage is unique and every marriage has different challenges. So today, last week we dealt with the loners, and how they all go through these, emotional, experiences, how they interpret things, and so today I believe we're dealing with the eccentrics, but I'll leave Pastor to take it on from here. So Pastor, please, if you can brief us today what we're going to be dealing with.
Thank you, Brother John. And let me take this time to greet and welcome the listeners from wherever they are listening from. It's always an honor, a joy, and a privilege for me to come and talk to the couples and those who are preparing to get married in these airwaves.
Yes.
Now, those who have just joined us today, we have been dealing in the last maybe in the last 2 weeks, on a topic of the emotional DVDs. What are the emotional DVDs? The emotional DVDs is taken from the analogy of a DVD. If you buy a brand new music video DVD and you play it, it plays smoothly.
Yes.
But if something scratches it, and then you will play it, it will play smooth until it gets to the scratch. When it gets to the scratch, then it becomes jerky and problematic. Now, so we are saying when it comes to emotion, to our emotional well-being, sometimes if we have some emotional traumas, some experiences that we came through in our lives, and our minds have got a way of filing them, and then we end up forming this what we call the cognitive patterns. And these files, when they get triggered, and sometimes you can live normally, things will be Humpty Dumpty, everything will be all right, until you get to the point or that area of your life gets triggered. And all of a sudden, when it gets triggered, the responses and the reactions are informed by the cognitive filing in your mind. And you wonder why the response, these are responses that actually affects marriages, because the responses are incongruous with what is really happening, or what triggered the response. So we say, when you get married or when you are preparing to get married, there are some areas that if you don't deal with, they will end up dealing with you. The main question has always been, okay, how do I know? Because the issue is they are very good in hiding themselves. They can hide themselves so well that even the one who has them might not even be aware that they are there. They are not aware. Why do I sometimes find actually it confuses them, it frustrates them, because they would be well and they know that the reaction or their response to a particular thing is not is not in synchrony with how they normally respond to things. And after they've responded, they will genuinely apologize because they truly don't know what's happening. And the question is, how do then I know that I have these emotional DVDs so that I can be able to deal with it? There is a test that we did, or there's a test that we do in our institution. And this test, you sort of, fill up this questionnaire, and this questionnaire can give you an idea. It's not 100% conclusive, but it can give you an idea that there might be a problem there. And therefore, this is how you can therefore deal with it. You are able to trace back what could have caused that, and therefore how to really deal with that. We have a book that we did. It's which deals mainly with this topic, with these issues. In this book called The Marriage Reset Button. There are people who are already married, but you realize that their marriage is going all into the wrong direction. So you reset it. Those who are not even yet married, they rather reset the marriage before they even get there, so that when they get there, the marriage is in the smooth, it's got this healthy foundation that they start on. So in that book, we also have the questionnaire. That if you purchase the book, in the back of the book, you can fill up the questionnaire, and then you can, from that questionnaire, you get to understand where do you fit and what are the things that you might need to deal with. In the book itself, it gives you the idea of what could be, what could have, or what is the emotional DVD about, and at least it gives you an idea of what to look at, and therefore how to deal with it. These are the emotional DVDs we are dealing with. I'm glad to announce that only a few days ago I posted some books to barter with.
Okay, fantastic. That's awesome, man.
Posted some books to barter with from the listeners that said, I heard this, wow, I want to hear more. All the topics that we have been covering, they are in that book, including this one, because it's important that you know. And it's very reasonable. We don't charge much because ours, Brother John, is not to make money, but ours is to help somebody. You'll be surprised that we can courier through South Africa at only 50 rands a copy. That's courier. So and also on top we just charge 50 rands just for the copy. That's 100 rand. But I'm grateful to tell you that there's a way that we can find out. So last week, that other week we spoke about, we spoke about this too. The last one was the loaners.
Yes, please.
The loaners, we quickly covered and say the challenge with these ones are those that found themselves almost abandoned in their childhood.
Yes.
They could have been abandoned because maybe their parents passed away. They could have been abandoned maybe the parents were just not there. They learned early in life that they are on our way, on their own. They learned early in life to fend for themselves. And in that learning, they had to learn how to survive. But also in that, there was something, the motivation for them was to prove to people that they will make it. It was to make a point that they will make it. So they did very well in school. They did very well. They set up walls and boundaries around them. And when they grow up and they finally make it, they become so independent. They refuse to depend on anybody. They are so independent. They are so independent and they are so confident of how they do things that if anybody else comes in them, especially in the form of a spouse, they find that they have no space because they are crowding them, because they have got this way of doing things that if you try, any other way it's only their way or the highway. So it frustrates them. Now, we dealt with that last week, and we also showed how it can cause problems right in marriage. But today I want to start with a new one called the eccentrics. The eccentrics, their challenge is, maybe let me give you a story again. I like to make this, build up this story so that it can, at least if I give you a story, you remember the story and it makes sense. Because, if I try to just unload the concept as it is, it might not be as clear. But the story gives you, this thing that, this practical, grasp of how this really works. Let's make an
sorry before let me just maybe there's a new listener now who's tuning in and is listening and is wondering what we're discussing about and is wondering, man, is this thing real? How bad can this thing be? Is this thing, what can be some of the implications? What, like, the worst case scenario? Is this thing like something worth focusing on and zooming in? Maybe there's someone tuning in right now. I'm just feeling maybe there's someone saying, you know what, I think this is just something I can put under the carpet, and sorry to interject.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This concept, when we started to look at it and we did research on it and started to look closer into it, I found out that there was a time, even now it's still, there was a time that there was this rise of domestic violence that took place. And you find that there are those that, the worst case scenarios are those who would kill their children, their wives, and their spouses. The breaking point for me was for this father who was with this wife and child at home. And this man, he fought with the wife. And then he told the wife, when I come back from, actually he had about 3 children, sorry. And the last one was, I think it was a 3-year-old boy. And the husband said, when I come back from work, I must not find you in my house with your children. And these are his children, this is his wife. And normally this man is a hard-working, loving husband, but for some reason, something got triggered when they were fighting with the wife. And he says, I don't want to see you in my house when I come back. So when he came back from work, the wife obviously had nowhere else to go. So the wife was still there with the children. When he got to the house, guess what? This man he lost it. He used an axe and killed the wife and killed the children. But there was this 3-year-old that when he saw the father coming towards him, the child opened his arms because he loved his father. Opened his arms, ran for the father. Guess what? The father, he hit the child with one blow and the child died on the spot. Now, when you look at this, when this man came back to his senses, he was sobbing, because he was haunted about, especially the picture of the young child.
Yeah.
So this father was sobbing. This father was, and the question is, what happened?
Yes.
Something was buried deep underneath, and it was not dealt with. And when it was triggered, he went out of control. So these are some of the things that made me look deeper, because I saw many of these cropping up. I saw this a man, or something would happen that does not make sense. They would kill the children. Mothers would kill their children and kill themselves. There was so much of that happening, and I started to ask questions, because I work with people. I work with families. I say, what's happening? Especially when these cases came closer to the people that I am dealing with, to people that I am counseling. I saw these tendencies coming up. I had to come up with answers. I had to come up with solutions. So that's when, in my research and my going deeper, I came up with this concept. And the Lord gave it to me. And from then onwards, where the Lord has been using us to salvage many marriages that were going either mild or severe, but we have seen God helping many couples that are saying, you know what, I love this person, but there is something about them that I cannot live with, because there are times that they just rise up and become a different person. It's as if you are married with two people. One moment, this person is the loving, and then you don't know what happened. They just twist, and you find, no man, this response is not fair, is not proper. So we looked at those, and what I'm trying to answer your question is, that's what, if it is not dealt with, if there are some issues, if you don't deal with them, they don't leave you. They stay, they get filed in your mind. But the problem is, you never know when they will be conjured up by your mind, when they will be triggered up. Probably that man who killed his whole family that I spoke about. This could have been something that happened when he was still very young. But he thought he was well. He thought he had dealt with it, but when it got triggered, it just came up like that. Just can of worms just opened up.
So this is really serious.
This is serious. This is serious stuff.
Sorry about that.
And no, please, thank you. And so these are the things that you find that if you don't deal with them, and as we are saying, it's important as couples. I normally say, my grandmother used to say, rather safe than sorry.
Yes, it's true.
And then she would also add an extra saying to that. She would say, better late than never.
It's true.
My grandmother used to drive fast, but she didn't like a fast driver herself. So when she drives, it's better early than late. When someone else drives, it's better safe than sorry.
Oh, wow.
So I normally say, because these emotional activities, there are some things that we went through in life, and we thought we were okay. But I normally say, better at least be sure it's not fair.
It's true.
Better at least you take the test. Better at least you deal with these, skeletons in the wardrobe that might be just waiting to just come out.
So would you advise a couple, just before getting married, to come and just do the test, even though there's no suspicion or anything? Or should they only come and take the test when they now see, I think there's something here?
In our premarital program, it's one of the programs that they just have to do it, because we have found out that many couples, they will come having no clue that there's a problem, only to find out that right in the middle of the session something breaks up, and then out of this program, and then we realize, if you didn't deal with this, then you will be in trouble. So most of the time, the challenge with this, you will never know it's there until it's triggered. Sometimes when you are not yet, the issue with marriage is marriage is a heart issue. Marriage is an emotional issue. So it uncovers everything that is in the heart. Now, when you are not married, because you don't normally operate, emotional or with the heart.
Yes.
But the moment you get closer into marriage,
Yes.
issues of love, issues of the heart,
Yes.
that's when your heart gets exposed.
Yeah.
And when these things are exposed, only then will you find out, even then, only when that particular area is triggered. Sometimes if it's triggered before you are married, it might be triggered, but the layer is still too thick. So it does not really come up to the surface. But if you are married, the layer is thinner.
Yes.
So it's easy for it to be triggered and come out.
Yeah.
So you might not even know it's there. But
true.
especially before you get married. But when you get married and you're already inside, then it's easier for those things to come up.
All right. Cool. Sorry for taking you on a detour to explain that. But I think there's a famous saying that says if you think knowledge is expensive, try ignorance.
Say that again.
It's true.
And the Bible says, my people perish because of ignorance.
It's true. So these sessions are there to to inform us, because we are so complex. The Bible says we are delicately made, in our mother's womb. We have, God knit us together and put all these things in us. So, we need to take care of ourselves emotionally and all that. So I believe today we'll be touching on this eccentric personality.
Yes.
Yes, please.
I'm going to make an example with a girl called Setu. Setu is living with her mother in a one-bedroom apartment. The mother is struggling, trying to make ends meet. Sometimes she does not have enough money for the rent. Sometimes they were threatened to be thrown out of the place where they stay in. And she does not have the bare necessities that other children are having. Sometimes the mother struggles even to pay the school fees. She's threatened to be chased out. Life is not easy, generally, for Setu and her mother. And there's nobody else out there who is there to support her. Like many children in South Africa, Setu grew up without a father. She does not even have a clue where the father is. And finally, it seems that the Lord is smiling at them, because Setu's mother meets a man, and this man marries her. And this man is doing well. So they move in with this man. He lives in this beautiful house. He has the cars. Life becomes easy. And, life is so good. It was not too long before this man showed his true colors. When Setu was 10 years old, this man started to force himself sexually on Setu.
Sure.
And threatened her that if you ever tell anybody, I'll kill you. So Setu is in this dilemma, and finally she musters the strength to tell the mother, Mama, this is what is happening to me. And the mother sits her down and sternly warns her, please, don't tell anybody about this. If this comes out, we will lose the place we are living in. We will not have a roof over our heads. So please keep this between, don't tell anybody. So Setu is feeling betrayed and confused and frustrated. The pain she's going through, this is too much for her little mind. And she knows the consequence of telling, but the pain of being abused by this man every night is too much for a little child to bear. She has to go through this during the night, and in the morning she has to look like a normal child at school. So it was too much for this little girl to carry this until she learned a habit of putting an emotional mask. She would put in this mask that pretended. When she is going through this pain, she would go out and pretend she is another girl. She does not have the problem. She has a loving father who does not abuse her. So she learned to wear this mask long enough until she believed it. She had to. This was the coping mechanism of a mind. She had to learn how to live in another world and not in this world where there was pain. She would only go back to a world when this man would be abusing her. Even then, she would learn to put on another mask. So as she grew up, she learned to put on so many masks over her life. That when things happen, she would pretend as if it's not happening. She would put a mask. And as a result, she lived in this world that is not normal. And then when she finally got married, having gotten used to wear this mask, the poor man did not know who he was marrying.
Oh my word.
Because even the problem is, even said to herself, no longer knew which face was hers right now, because she was wearing so many masks. There was this scared little girl and hurting. There was this professional who was succeeding and doing very well at work, and there was this one who was this good friend who pretended that everything was okay when she was with her friends. She knew how to put on these faces, and she mastered how to wear them. Now that she is married, now she is in this dilemma that now marriage, you need to pick up a face. But now she did not know which face to look, and she was in this dilemma that you find her. She's living in a totally different world. She's not interested in relationship. She's not even interested sexually, because the faces that she put had nothing to do with sex, because that's where the head came from. If she had to go towards sexual relationship in this marriage, it will conjure up the mask that she didn't like, because it reminded her of the area that she never dealt with. And then as she is here in marriage, number two, she would live in this outlandish, world that is not the real world. That she had this kind of people that you find they're almost strange. The way they do things is strange. The way they were, it's more eccentric in a way. But this girl was brilliant. Setu was a brilliant girl. She was doing very well at school, because when she puts on any mask, she mastered the mask. If she put on the mask of an academic, she mastered the mask. If she put on the mask of a professional, she mastered the mask. So she was doing very well, but just like the loners, she felt as if she did not need this man. She would always seem as if, we say in Xhosa, uyaboniswa. She see things that nobody else can see. And these people, the problem is because they love to live, out. For them, they like to live. They're normally not in touch with reality. One of the tools that they use to lose touch, it is drugs, substance abuse, it is alcohol. It makes them forget. Those are the faces. Substance abuse, reckless lifestyle, and a whole lot of other things. And also you find them having these beliefs. They are usually lured in easily into cultic practices, because cult to them, whenever something seems to be super spiritual, that's what they flow with, because it's outside, it's supernatural. They like the supernatural world so much that they are easily lured into the cultic practices and all these kind of things. And here she is now married to this husband. And the poor husband is trying to find the wife, but the wife is not there. The wife is living in another world. And this poor man is forever frustrated, because he's trying to keep up with the wife who does not understand the world is living in. So basically, this is what these eccentrics are all about. And they need a lot of help. And I think for today, that's what I want us to cover, and to look at and to see if there are some things that in your life you never dealt with. If there are some things that in your life, instead of dealing with them, you pretended, as if something else is happening, or as if you pretend to be somebody else or something else, instead of dealing with this thing. You are this world that you escape into. That world you escape into as you grow also grows. It grows more complex. It grows more bigger, that by the time you are married, you don't know how to live in the real marriage world. Imagine living with that person in your marriage, because the challenge might be when you got married. If it depends where you saw this person. If you saw this person at church, they were wearing the mask church. If you saw this person at work, probably they work the professional mask. When they get home, They are struggling because they feel the pressure of keep on putting on the mask of work, because they know that's who you know. But when they get a home, they can't maintain that mask. And they are ever in this dilemma of finding themselves hip-hopping between many masks, because they are trying to maintain this mask, and that marriage is in serious trouble unless this person is helped.
My goodness. Because, like, they said you're going to have to take, wearing a mask requires more energy.
Exactly.
Because to put on the show for a long time, sooner or later, the real person surfaces.
Yes.
The real person. And when sometimes, as you said, sometimes even the person is not comfortable with the reality, just like taking cognizance and acknowledging that this is who I am. This is the past that happened to me. And so, like, when it comes to stuff like that, and I can imagine the scenario now where, for example, because in marriages, I believe this is where sometimes you need to have real talk. Real talk about life issues, about family planning, about finances, about all this, and sometimes it requires somebody with a touch of reality. So I can only imagine what kind of clash there would be with somebody who's living in a different reality, or who's putting on a mask and is afraid to show who they really are. Like, that would be really challenging.
You see the issue also with these people, that this is where it gets more complex. Because they all their lives, because they grew up very different. They do things differently. They live in their own world, and they feel as if nobody understands them. As a result, they have learned to be like loners. They have learned to spend so much time with themselves. They don't have a problem with spending time with themselves, because they can just they've got so many masks that they are able to switch in between and spend time with themselves.
It's a dual personality.
It's a dual personality. So they don't have a problem. These people, they sort of also like loners. They are loners. They like their space.
Sure.
And you'll find them even talking by themselves. They can have a conversation, and they can have an activity just by themselves. And because they reason that nobody understands me. Nobody understands, how I do things. They know that. They are aware of that. Because the way they talk, the way they do things, the way they see things is different from people. As a result, they always feel awkward to be among other people, because when they're among other people, they have no point of, connection. Because these people, they have got this way of seeing things, but she has got this way of seeing things, or he has got this way of doing things. And when he finally gets married to this wife, or when she finally gets married to this husband, here is the husband that is not eccentric. Here is the husband that is living in another world. So you've got two people who are living in two different worlds. And as a result, this wife now comes to a point of this husband, you know what, this person doesn't understand me. So this person, you forever find them in their own cave. So you are married to this person, but this person doesn't have time for you. They live in their own world right inside your house. And it can be very frustrating. You love the person, maybe they love you, but the problem is there's an area that they never dealt with, and this area keeps on cropping up again. When maybe you are confronting this person, or maybe you are communicating with this person, they have got this sense. They might say it or might not say it. They might say, you don't understand me. You don't understand, because they are frustrated by feeling that you don't, and that's true. You don't understand them.
It's true.
Because they are different. They are living in their own world. You don't understand this world. And marriages with this kind of a personality, or with this kind of a tendency, they normally have a lot of frictions and a lot of frustration. Sometimes you find that these are like two strangers living under the same roof.
Wow.
because they are completely missing each other.
My goodness.
You know, most of the time when these people continue with marriage, if they don't deal with this, it's not because they love each other, they're frustrated, but it's just that they don't just know how, they don't have the strength to get out. But they are already, you know, separate while living in the same house, because they are just disconnected, living in totally different worlds. They can sleep in the same bed. My pastor normally say sleeping single in a double bed. They can be totally married, sleeping in the same bed, but still very different worlds. You know, very frustrating situation.
Sure, like I can only imagine. You know, like how would you? What would you recommend is the first step? You know, to take towards bringing some sort of reconciliation or some sort of the path to healing and the path to a loving marriage. You know, in such a case, you know, where sometimes like it's really extreme, you know, and you know these guys are on the verge of like calling it quits, you know. So how would you like recommend some, you know, like the journey to healing?
The corrective measures here is for this person to realize that they are wearing masks. You know, it's the way that they do things is not natural and is not normal. And they also have got to realize that they have a problem of an issue that they never dealt with as a child. So, but for them to deal with it, because it connects with a very painful experience, it is not therefore wise to let them on their own to deal with it. It's always wise for them to see a therapist. A therapist that could help them, take them through the journey of going back into whatever area where they felt so much pain, where the masks were created to protect them. And go there, and as a child, they deal with that area. They deal with whatever pain that was there. Take out, you know, the crust of the pain, and then deal with it in a healthy manner, and then come back with them. That's the only way you can remove the mask, because the mask is there, it's instinctive to protect them from dealing with the pain. So if you can help them to deal with the pain so that they will not see the need for a mask. Once you deal with the pain and don't see the need for the mask, at least you have left with one problem. The next problem now, it is you know, the instinctive way of doing things, or the, you know, they say usuality conquers the mind, because you develop a pattern. You know, this pattern, you know, even if you know that the pain is no longer there, but the tendency to keep on doing it, you know, habitually, it's still there. So at least if you remove the pain, then the next journey is to help them now to cut the habit, you know, to cut the habit. So it needs a number of sessions to do that. So it's doable. And the beautiful thing about this is, it's not going to only help this person in their marriage. It's going to help them broadly in their lives. You know, different areas where you find that these masks were sometimes, you know, sabotaging some areas of their lives. So at least now you are rebuilding up a healthier person. So it's very crucial that these people, once you realize, you know, I think I might have a challenge there. The next stage is take active stage to deal with it. See a therapist. Let the therapist walk with you. Take the journey to see where the masks started and what are the masks that are there. Sometimes you can find that one person can have over 50 masks.
Sure.
I mean, it's a lifetime.
My goodness.
And they master these masks until you don't know, and the other one will kill somebody. And when they kill that person, because if there's a mask of a killer, when that mask comes up, they will do that mask. And you find that it's not their character, but the mask that they, you know, maybe out of anger because of the pain they went through. There was this mask that developed. Maybe this person is, you know, it's an aggressive mask. When this mask is conjured up, this person is no longer themselves. Because there's a mask that is protecting them from whatever pain. So you need to identify as much as you can what are those masks so that you can be able to deal with them, make them understand this is not you. This particular one you need to take care of, take rid of it. You get rid of it, because if you don't, it's gonna keep on hindering who you really are. But the biggest cobweb is to find out who is the real face.
Okay. No, my word.
But it's doable.
Sure.
But once it's done, it's beautiful. Once you see this person finding who they are, it's like they are waking up from the dream. It's the best thing that can happen to any marriage.
My goodness. And like like if you say something traumatic happened, something really, and especially something the society shuns.
Yes.
Like there's a stigma about that. This is actually what forces them to like hide it at every cost.
Yeah.
Whatever happened. I forget about
Exactly.
it. Kind of thing. Because I can't bring that thing to the surface. I can't. There's a fear factor, there's a shame to it, say something like this scenario,
yes.
where her own stepfather,
yes.
actually took her innocence away, so something like that like how do you even begin to speak to to friends and like even opening up to therapist. I mean, you're opening up to someone else.
Yes. Yes.
And so how can you advise? Maybe there's someone, I believe probably there could be somebody listening to us right now and is hearing what we are saying and is like, sure, how do I even get the strength to approach a therapist, to be vulnerable in such a situation? Because there's a lot of stigma and shame too, because I believe if that can be overcome, then we've got a chance to lead this person down the path of healing. So how would be your advice? Just take that bold step, because I think probably you have to show them, just as I'm thinking, you have to show them, this, if you go on like this in this trend, things will only get worse. So I think taking the step towards healing, no matter how quote shameful or disgraceful or that thing is, it will give you the biggest deliverance in your life. So what will be your sort of encouragement towards that?
Brother John, very good question. Your mind picture your mind as a lift. You see a lift that you use to go up and down in high buildings. Picture your mind as a lift. A lift can only take so much load. If you overload that lift, it still has a tolerance. If they say maybe you can take only 8 people, the tolerance could be. I won't say the number because I don't want somebody to say, I know the pastor says it could take so many more people.
Yes.
But for every lift, if it says 14, they still make a tolerance just in case.
Yes,
somebody daring might still want to add more weight.
It's true.
But that lift can only go to a particular tolerance. And then no matter what they do, they still have, they still have something that they put in just in case it's overloaded. Instead of going crashing down, what is the next safety feature? The next safety feature maybe might be to apply brakes to the lift, or the lift doesn't close, so that we make sure that it does not go down. So your mind is like that.
Okay.
Your mind can only take so much. And then if you go beyond that level, and then there's a tolerance level where you feel I'm overwhelmed. You feel I cannot take this any longer, but still, if you push, you're still able to. But there's a level that your mind knows that if I go beyond this level, I will crash. So what your mind will do to protect you, it will create some means of protecting itself. Now this area that we talk about, let's take for example this girl, this scenario. A little girl of 10 years can only take so much. This girl maybe was on her tolerance level when she went to tell the mother. But when the mother says, don't tell anybody, you can't tell anybody. Now her mind was in the verge of crashing. It had to apply some other brakes to protect itself. So what I'm trying to say is, please don't dare your mind. Don't allow your mind to go beyond a place. And the best way that you can protect your mind is to shed the load. How do you shed the load? Is to speak to somebody. Have you spoken to somebody about something that was so weighty on you, but the moment you spoke about it, it just, just talking, just telling somebody, that alone is therapeutic. Now, what is important here is, please remember, if you don't tell somebody, it's gonna be more damaging in the long run. You need to share. Once you can weigh, if you can weigh the pros and cons. If I don't tell this person, if I don't tell anybody about this, at least my dignity, my integrity, and my sanity in the minds of people will be protected. But the reality is, I would rather talk to somebody, especially a therapist. I mean, with therapists, believe me, we deal with issues. You might think your issue is too big. We deal with so many issues that for us, when it comes, nothing really surprises us. And actually for us, when you are able to, because we can see when you come to us and you're still not honest, we respect you and we honor you more because people deal with issues. But if you can come and be sincere and be honest and tell us, hey, this is what I'm going through, it helps you. And also, while it helps you, this person you are talking to, they are trained to do that. They are trained to help you. Never allow yourself to have something that you carry and you are not able to tell anybody because it's a taboo, because you're afraid what are people going to think about you and all those things. It's a trap. Don't fall in that trap because the long-term consequences are not worth it. Said to, if she would have spoken to somebody, she would not have been going through this now. She's now dealing with multiple phases and nobody knows how many problems has she gone through because of those. If she would have spoken to somebody, that would have been once off and it's dealt with and she's okay.
My goodness. And as you said, it's not worth it, because if you look at the in the scenario that you gave, the example, now the husband now has to deal with this.
Exactly.
Not just her. It's not just her that she has to probably go to bed, and say, what am I doing? Having this conversation, and she's not happy with herself, and because she knows, maybe her husband is sleeping angry, they didn't have any conversation, even the conversation is shallow, and there's no truth to everything, and she knows deep within. And you mentioned something about, this, when there's this thing that the shame and the stigma that comes with it, that tells us you are the only one that has ever faced this. And this thing is big, I think that's a lie of the devil outright
big
there.
One.
That's
big
a
one.
big lie. Even if we quote the Bible, says that no sin, everything is, you have not fallen into something that is not common among men. These things happen. So I believe that's why we're here, and I can see a couple of comments, on Facebook. Thank you very much. And if you feel like you've got something that you want to, discreetly, communicate with us, please WhatsApp us on our number 067 99 I'll just read one comment from Facebook. And this is a viewer called I will not mention names, sorry. She says, hello pastors, I'm feeling this conversation so deep. I was just led to this program this morning.
Wow.
Thank you so much. We are so blessed with that feedback. It is, at least this is ministry, and we are so encouraged, by doing this. So Pastor, for somebody out there, right now and listening to us, and you're saying everything that you're saying, I have gone through. Everything that you're saying, I'm dealing with currently. How can I get, therapeutic assistance? I want to save my marriage, I want to save my life, and I want to get things right. How do I, who do I approach? If maybe you can share some details with that as well.
You know, just if you don't mind, just before I go there,
Yes, please.
let me quickly remind people about what happened. I think it was last year.
Mm.
The girl who was murdered in Cape Town.
Sure.
You know, and then I think there was a group that came out after that of many people who were coming out into the open of how they went through some issues in their lives.
Yeah.
I just forgot the name of I realized that there are many people out there who are they're just quiet. But you see this thing coming up and you know, and because that was trigger for them. For us, we do programs on this particular topic. If you want to connect with us, you can go to the Art of Building a Healthy Marriage, and you can send us a message, or you can WhatsApp me on 072 719 8760, or you can email me at Sodladla. Sodladla is my surname. CK for Clifford Khaya. CK at gmail.com. Sodladla CK at gmail.com. You can maybe send us an email. The beautiful thing is, I think, you know, with this COVID-19, something positive came true. Because now, when I did my training, I did my training on this topic overseas. You know, and with a college, so not overseas. I did not go overseas.
Yes,
I did the I did the course online.
All righty. Okay.
You know, with some of my courses. So I in this course, they were talking more about the Zoom. For them, the online therapy sessions, but for us it was foreign. But ever since this, now we are glad to say we are doing some sessions online. Even if you are far, you can say, Pastor, I need help. Can I book some sessions with you? If you're around PE, we can sit down in my office and we can talk more. So what I'm trying to say is there is help available. But I would recommend that if maybe you want to see if you have a problem or not first, you can purchase our book. You can just send an message in these platforms I gave you. Purchase a book, do the test, and just go through the brief explanation of the emotional activities, and then you can have a clue or an idea if you need help or not.
For sure. Ladies and gents, you know, this is why we bring men and women of God, men of reputable men, you know, to deal with these things. That's all we are about, even in this, the art of building a healthy marriage. Because many times we assume we are born with the knowledge of how to do it. Like, no, I can do it my own way. But the thing is, we are so complex. We are complex beings.
Yes.
We are so complex you would not believe it.
Yes.
You know, the psalmist says, you know, so fearfully and wonderfully made. You know, that's how we are. So dealing with all this, there's the emotional aspect of us, there's the mental aspect, there's the spiritual aspect, there's physical aspect. All of this. You know, when you get into marriage, I believe you're marrying the whole package, you know, of a person. So please tune in every single day, Monday at 10 a.m. to get, I can say to get real help and real information, because as the Bible says, you know what, it is for lack of knowledge that my people perish.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that the devil has just like camped on, you know, marriage, to destroy marriage, because he knows a good marriage is a good testimony,
exactly.
You know, and it brings a lot of good fruit. So, Pastor, just in closing, in wrapping up, I think, I don't know if we have exhausted the scenario and maybe a few things you would want to add on to.
Well, I think the last part that I think might be worth mentioning on this eccentrics.
Yeah.
When you find that this person, because they've learned every situation that they hit a wall, they create a mask. If now this problem of this eccentric is creating problems within marriage, they might be living in the total different world here in marriage, strangers living together, not doing very well in marriage, but they've learned to wear masks, and it's very frustrating. They will wear this mask of this happy couple.
On the outside.
On the outside. When they get to the children, they pretend so much that all is so well, we are so lovey-dovey. And then when they go outside to the world, they wear this mask of this happy, very happy wife or this very happy husband, and this frustrating the spouse because she knows it's a lie. But they have learned so well to wear the mask. So we need to help them deal with those masks. You know, to those who are listening, I pray that you did learn something. We're still gonna do more. We remember we started with the apprehensives, those that were afraid, that were betrayed and were afraid of betrayal. We dealt with the lonely, those who were who felt were afraid of being left because they were abandoned. They were afraid of abandonment. Then we are dealing with these ones who are wearing masks because they can't deal with the pain. So next we're gonna deal with another one. So please keep on listening. These are you have just only heard 3, and I think it has resonated with many people already.
It's true.
Imagine if you hear more and more, you'll start understanding some of the issues that you don't understand. That when we put in that knowledge in marriage, you will have power. I believe we'll have fewer divorces because we have the knowledge on our side. So I ask you, please keep on tuning in, invite others, share. You know, you can go to the Facebook page of Agape, you can share, keep on sharing this, let more people hear about it, let more marriages be helped. If you can do a little thing, we have done our part with Brajon and Agape radio station. You can do your part, share with somebody, talk about it. And keep on encouraging us as well. We need those encouragements. When we're online, just tell I'm here. I'm happy to get more messages from other friends of mine and from the listener that says, you know what, this is good. We are listening. We are being helped. You know, it's encouraging for us to keep going.
It's true. And listeners, I would just like make this appeal. This is something, this is something big. It's not small talk. This is big talk. And as we said, the enemy likes to camp on this thing. You know, he really wants. He has 3 purposes: to steal, to kill, and to destroy. So if he gets any chance to destroy, he will destroy. And I want to ask you, viewers and listeners, please, if you know someone in your circle of friends or friends of friends that you know whose marriage is on the rocks, or who that they are going through this, and for you to play a part as a friend, please share these videos with them, share the audios from our Facebook, from our website. Also invite them, send them a link when we are live, so that they can actually come and listen while it's happening real live. Real lives are going to be transformed here. So the time now is 4 minutes past 11. It's been a pleasure and a joy for me, to be hosting, Pastor Khaya Sodladla. Thank you so much for coming. I believe our viewers and our listeners are so blessed, and I'm sure they are praying for you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
we need those.
Yes. So, Pastor, just in closing, any words of encouragement and wisdom?
Well, to all the listeners there, I want to say to you, it's doable. This coming weekend on the 1st of, next weekend, on the 1st of May, we are celebrating our 17th anniversary with my wife. And it's been 17 years of good years. We thank God for that.
Amen.
It's not our wisdom, it's not our understanding, but I'm grateful to God. To say that you are happy. There's sometimes that you sit down with other couples and and you feel, Lord, you feel guilty because it seems as if it's unfair that others might be going through this, and you feel that, Lord, I have nothing to say that says, we fought last week or we did this. That I'm not saying that in a pride way. I'm saying that to say to you, it's doable. You don't have to endure in marriage. You just have to use the right tools. I believe the fact that you got married, it's because you loved each other. You can continue loving each other, right, inside marriage. All you need is to keep on compounding knowledge, because it's knowledge that will safeguard your marriage. It's marriage that will keep you happy when others are struggling in marriage. So it's doable. It's doable. it's doable. All you need to do, keep on investing in that marriage of yours with
Amen.
knowledge.
Amen.
Read books, listen to program like this, go to workshops of marriage. Keep on investing. It's doable.
Amen indeed. Amen. It's doable. Double click on that. It's doable.
Yes.
So we're going to listen to You Make Me Brave by Bethel. Stay tuned. In just a little while, we're going to have an incredible man at 1 p.m. So stay tuned.